It's hot take season. Here we go. These are spicy.
And Stevens winding up too. Let there be no mistake about that. Stevens went at him at 100 miles an hour. He can have a go.
Hey guys, welcome back to Further North. Just two things to say really quickly before we get into today's episode regarding the live show. So first of all, thank you so much to everybody who has purchased a ticket. It still is crazy to me that people want to do that sort of stuff. People want to come down to things that I've organised for fans. It's going to be a great day. So thank you so much. A few people have reached out over the last couple of years I've done this and sort of said, what's the best way I can support the show in other ways than subscribing or liking the videos, 5-star reviews, all that sort of stuff. And realistically, buying a ticket to the live show is the only way outside of those things to support the show. So if you're a massive fan and do want to find a way to support and have a great day meeting Eddie Ford, meeting Marnie, Close to a Flag guys, myself, and just a bunch of North Nuffies having a great time and a laugh, please buy a ticket, come down. They're only $19. It's not too much, and support a venue that's owned by a North fan as well. So that'd be fantastic. Second point, which is the most important point. We've had a few people reach out, and rightly so, regarding the date. Now, North Melbourne have a pre-season game on that weekend as well. We already knew this going in and organising the live show, and obviously Eddie Ford is coming on the show. The contact with him and other people within the club, also articles about scheduling on pre-season games, everything suggests it's on the 22nd. As far as our research is concerned, 99.9% it's on the 22nd, and the podcast, the live show, will be on the 23rd. So, if you have hesitated buying a ticket because of the dates and that game not being scheduled sort of locked in by now, please don't stress. It's going to be on the 22nd and the show is going to be on the 23rd. If for any reason that changes, everyone's getting their money back, and I would never withhold that from you guys. It'll be straight back as quick as we can. But look, 99.9%. The game is on the 22nd and the live show is on the 23rd. So if you're hesitating, please grab a ticket, still come down, and it's going to be a great time, okay? Thank you so much to everyone who has bought tickets. It's going to be such a fun time. If you haven't got a ticket yet, I'll leave the link in the description for you to grab your tickets. Get your mates along. Come solo. We've had a bunch of people already say they're coming solo. We're going to get a table of people who haven't got a mate there. We're going to, say, what's the deepest cut of a North player you can ever say? And then you're going to be like, Matt Riggio. And you're going to be like, Digby Morell, and then everyone's going to get chatting. So you're going to meet some mates. Anyway, I'll leave it there. We're going to get into the episode. We've got Cheif on today to do some North hot takes. Going to be unreal. So yeah, I'll leave it there without going on about the live show anymore. But please, tickets down below. Link is in the description. Get along. It's going to be so exciting. Everyone can meet Eddie Ford, and I guess you can say hi to me too, but I'm nowhere near as cool as Eddie Ford. I shave my sideburns off. Anyway, let's get into the episode. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one. Welcome back to the Further North podcast, guys. Episode 2 of the year. And we got Cheif here, who's a massive North fan, does a podcast of his own. You did see him last year on the pod, but he's going to be jumping in some more this year if there's a Marnie absence or a Close to a Flag admin absence. He will be here, which is incredibly exciting. Welcome along to the show, mate. And hopefully the listeners can get more accustomed to your voice.
Yeah, hopefully. That'll be really, really good. I've been enjoying my time on the pod, so hopefully we get a few good pods in this year. That'd be great.
And you do a pod yourself. Do you want to give that a little bit of a spruik while we're here?
Yeah, From the Outer, it's called. It's a little bit more of a comedy, jokey kind of approach to footy every week. We started last year. We've put out 35 podcasts, and we're just starting on 2025. So it's going to be a big year, I think.
Unbelievable. Well, look, we've got you here for a very important reason. We're going to do some North Melbourne hot takes. We've got 10 of yourself, 10 from me, and also the fans have written in and have given us some incredibly spicy takes. So we're going to get into that in 1 second, but not going to go without a little bit of advertisement. The live show, we talked about it. We have posted about it. The live show is back. For those who haven't heard or seen yet, we're going to do another live show just like last year. We've got Eddie Ford coming down. Mr. West is the venue in Footscray on the 23rd of February. We'd love all of you guys to grab a ticket, come along. We're going to do a live podcast there. Hopefully some giveaways. We're going to do some North trivia, some guessing games, and everyone can go and give Eddie Ford a hug and a handshake and a high five, and it's going to be super, super fun. Have a drink and just chill out, doing basically a Sunday sesh. The weather was unbelievable last year down at Bonehead Brewing. And yeah, we've got a brand new venue and it should be really, really, really fun. So if you haven't seen it, please go to the socials, grab a ticket. We really want to see you guys down there and support the show. And I can't believe that we can do this for a second year in a row. And look, if people really, really like you, mate, we might get your mug down there so everyone can see their new podcast favorite.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, Josh. You know what? I watched the last live pod and it was fantastic. It was a great pod. If you thought Charlie Comben was a bit rogue, Eddie Ford is going to be
totally
off
right.
the dial. It's going to be one of those things where we're going to write, the club's going to write in an email, say, hey, you got to redact a whole bunch of the podcast. So make sure you get there in person because there's going to be
that's right.
spicy takes in person. Josh is going to have to take stuff out of the pod. I can guarantee it.
100%. Not safe for web content is going to be live, and the censored radio edit will be put on the internet because, look, he's a cool cat, Eddie. We don't know if he's going to come in speed dealers, sideburns. He's going to be flipping people off. Maybe we'll get him to flip one of the members of the crowd off just so they can experience that moment, just like on the field. So, look, it's all going to go down 23rd of Feb. Grab your tickets. It's going to be a very rogue, fun time. I don't think there's is there bigger names than Eddie Ford? Yes, but is there better names you'd like to go to a live show and see? Absolutely not. So we've got him. We've reeled in a big fish, and it's going to be a great time.
Oh, mate, it's going to be huge. So everybody get down. I'll try and get down. My brother's going to try and get down, who's another friend of the pod. It's going to be huge.
Hot take time, mate. I think it's time to get into these because, look, we've had some spicy ones and I want to know your opinion on these. So I've got 10, you've got 10, and we're going to read out some of the listeners' hot takes as well. We won't linger too long on these. We'll try and rapid fire, but also give the right amount of content. So my first hot take for North Melbourne in 2025, and I did do a similar one last year, is Paul Curtis kicks 40-plus goals.
Yeah, that's a great one, mate. Great call. I actually think he kind of mini exploded last year. I don't know what a mini explosion would be. Like maybe that's the hydrogen bomb versus the fission bomb. I don't know what it is, but I actually had something similar. To this. So this works really well. Curtis and Zerha to kick 70 together in 2025. Yep. I think just as a quick one, I think what we saw in the grand final last year, the Smalls for Brisbane really did it for them. Cobra Kai Loman, Kala Chi, these sort of guys, they were really important. They kicked a lot of goals, and I think we could be the same. And I think that we could kick a lot of goals with those mid-sized forwards, which we've really invested in.
Yeah, well, last week on the show, we did the best 23, and I was sort of saying to Marnie that, we don't really have great small sort of forward options, but I don't think we really need them. If Darling and Curtis and Zerha can bring the pressure, I don't know why we need a small guy doing it because we've got very talented sort of medium-sized forwards. So that's not a bad shout. I don't mind that. I've got one more for goal kicking, which we may as well do these now. I've got Jack Darling kicks 25+. Yeah,
I like it. I like that. I think, look, it's a goal a game virtually. I think he can definitely do that. I think it's what's probably more interesting in that sense is how many he'll play. I think if he plays 17 to 18 games, I think he kicks 25 to 30. Which would be a great result for I
can see him playing a lot of games, mate. I don't know why unless he's out of form, he's played nearly every game, barring injury. He hasn't really been dropped much in his career, and I know he's getting older, but he played 22 of the 24, I think, for West Coast last year. So I don't know why there'd be a decline. I think, I know he's a little bit older than he was, but, I don't think it really matters. Under the roof at Marvel, he's got a good record. Perfect conditions, snagging a couple every now and then and a goal a game, I think is I don't know. I don't think it's too spicy, but I think people will think it's a hot take. So, yeah, I'll back him in.
Yeah, I like that, definitely. I had Will Phil to play over 15 games. What do you think about that?
All right, I'm going to caveat yours with another one of my hot takes.
Okay.
My hot take is Luke Urquhart plays more games than Will Phil.
Okay.
So we've gone complete
yeah,
opposite ends of the spectrum here.
Yeah, it definitely won't happen, I don't think. But in terms of, I think it's probably more controversial that Willfield plays more games. I think some people like him, some people hate him. We've got a massively stacked midfield, and the idea is like, where can he fit in? I think he has to fit in from a mix perspective. I know that we just can't play offensive mids. Like, we've got a lot of very good offensive mids, but we just can't play them all because, we're just going to run forward and then have no one playing defensive. So I think Willfield's the key to that. I will also note that I follow North socials, and Matty Green, I think, is the person who takes a lot of photos down there at training. He is looking in very good shape, William Phillips.
Big biceps.
Big biceps, handsome fella. I think hopefully he's overcome his issues with
glandular fever,
chronic fatigue, and hopefully he strings games together. Luke Urquhart, I am, as an aside, very, very excited about him. I know you are too.
So am I.
Yeah.
So am I. I've sort of think that my reasoning behind this is physically, I think he looks ready, and maybe that's because Finn O'Sullivan is quite slender and Matty Whitlock, but physically he looks ready. But I think he's the most unique midfielder that we do have, and not in a sense of obviously LDUs and Sheezels and stuff are incredibly unique, but he's the closest thing to a in and under bull of a midfielder that I think we've got on our list. This is a concern of mine before the draft, and this is why I was hot on getting Josh Smiley. Was we really lack a bigger body, a guy who genuinely wants to be on the bottom of a pack. What maybe I thought Hugh Greenwood would bring a little bit more last year. So I'm not saying he's going to play just because he's going to get in the side in like round one or something like that. But I think if there's a couple of injuries and our midfield isn't clicking, I think he's almost the biggest wild card you could throw in for something different, where Willfield, we saw more as a tagger, and he did push forward and kick a few goals last year, which I think while playing the tagging role is a really good effort. I don't know. I think Urquhart is something completely different, and I would like us to try that if things aren't going well. Look, do I believe it? Would I be putting money on it? Probably not, but hey, it's a hot take that I don't think is incredibly crazy and out of the realm of possibility.
But it's a hot take. It's a spicy take. That's what we want. That's what we're the nature of the take. And just like this spicy take, FOS to win the Rising Star.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think the crop this year is very good.
It is, yeah. And I think you'll play a lot of minutes. I mean, we had a discussion about this before the pod about where he sits in the midfield depth chart. I think given his level of talent, I think he plays straight away. And I think that he'll get an early nomination. I believe that he'll probably switch a little bit with Caleb Daniel down back versus maybe a little bit of, midfield. And I think if he plays down back, he's so skillful. He's just going to, he will have an immediate impact. So hot take. I know, as you say, there's some good players there in that draft. It's a very deep draft. I think Finn is as well placed as any player in that draft to win the Rising Star next year.
Yeah, look, talent alone, you can't question that. I think my main question, and for those who did listen to the last episode with the 23, I don't have him in my starting 23 for the year. I fully expect him to be one of the players in the 23 by the end of the season, absolutely. If he was drafted the year before, I think he's a walk-up starter. Our midfield's deep, and, with Parker being able to go through there and LDU and Wardlaw and Sheezel and Simpkin and Powell, it's so hard to get minutes in there. I think you're right. If he does play, we've seen off half-back is fantastic for first-year players. I guess, when I was talking to Joel about the draft, he was sort of saying he's a bit of a Taron Thomas-esque player where he's a goal-kicking sort of midfielder and loves to push forward. So where will we see him? I don't know. That half-forward line where he could kick goals is a gluttony of Parker and Simpkin and, a lot of players that can go through the midfield as well, Sheezel. So we'll see. But look, it's not a bad take, mate. I'm going to go for slightly more of a club-focused one here.
Yep.
And I'm going to say North win both WA games. Both our home games in WA are wins.
I love that. Fortress Bunbury, that's what we're calling it.
We own WA.
Yeah. You know what? Here's a hot, I've just thought about this hot take completely. What about the Kangaroos, the king of the wine regions. So we win our Bunbury game, which is close to Margaret River, and then we win our game in the Barossa Valley against Gold Coast. Oh, what a double that would be! I think we can genuinely do it. I think the tougher win is clearly Freo. I mean, that'll be Freo at Optus, but we've beaten them 2 years ago, so nothing stopping us from doing that.
Yeah, I just think we play so well over there. I don't know what it is. Just like we used to play well in Tassie, now we don't, but we never used to do super well over there. And then we're going over there, and it seems like a place. Half the boys are WA anyway. We've Urquhart, that will be his debut game. 35 touches on display in front of mum. Logue back, Zerha, Fisher, all the WA boys.
Hardiman.
Tucker from over there as well. He knows the conditions. So look. There you go. North win both WA games, but I like your wine prediction as well. If there's a vineyard within a 5 kilometre radius, we cannot be stopped on the Pinot.
We're the kings of the vineyard. We're the kings of the Sauv Blanc, the Kangaroos. You know what, though? I will say this. A lot of people, this is just a complete aside, a lot of people say that we had a good record in Tassie. Our record was terrible, and I'm just very, very glad that we're moving out of there.
As a Tasmanian mate, I don't disagree with you, to be honest. Look, I felt like our record was pretty good. I guess maybe it was just that period, that prelim final period we had prime Sean Higgins, Jared Waite days. But yeah, look, the last 5-6 years haven't been fantastic. So look, I love that there were games in Tassie down in my home state, but I think it's time to move on, and I don't mind that one at all. But look, hit me with another one of your hot takes.
Well, LDU to sign an 8-year contract, $1.5 million a year.
8 years? Whoa.
8 years, $1.5 million. Yeah, I think that's the way it'll go. I honestly think it'll be if not the long. What's the longest tenured? Mac Andrew, that was 10,
Mac
9
Andrew,
years? 8,
he got the 9-year deal.
It'll be one of the longest tenured deals in the history of football, I think. And the reason I say that is because I know a lot of people say, why would he want to sign with Kangaroos? They're not competitive. What the other clubs that are sniffing around are very similar to us. Hawthorn's maybe the exception to that, but I don't think Hawthorn will be able to offer the same amount of money that we do. $1.5 million to stay at the club, when you would think in the next 3 or 4 years that's when we're going to be good. It's a no-brainer. And I think all of this posturing is just to push his price up.
No, look, I don't disagree. I actually have one with LDU as well, which we can tie into this. LDU doesn't sign until after the bye. I don't think he's going to be signing early. I think we're going to be made to wait a little bit. I know we all want him to sign it before the season or sign it within the first 5 or 6 rounds to take the pressure off. I watch enough international sport to know the way the AFL is going, and I just don't think we're going to get early signatures. You watch me check my phone at the end of this show and he's signed. But look, I think he will. As much as I love the things he's saying, and I think him backing up his comments saying he does want to stay on Channel 9 and Channel 7, I think is a good sign. It doesn't mean he's going to stay, and I know that doesn't mean that there's been pen to paper, but he is aware more than anybody else that saying those things does mean there will be repercussion. He seems like a loyal player. It doesn't seem like he needs the bright lights. He seems like he loves the place. And he's a country kid who, loves the surf and loves being with his mates. So look, I think we are made to wait a little bit, but I don't think he signs until after the bye. I reckon we're going to be going into the bye very, very nervous.
It's a tough wait, Josh. It's a tough wait, but we'll do what we can. We'll do what we can to get through. I think by then it'll be well and truly shown that Sheasel will be in the All-Australian squad contention. I think he'll be there. I think he'll be top 10 for disposals. I think he'll be hopefully kick 10 goals. Averaging 28 to 30 touches a game, and really take him to the next echelon of midfielders. He's really good, obviously. He's very, very good. But I think this year he'll show that he's that All-Australian level. And that's my hot take.
If North can win enough games, I think hopefully people can start putting him almost on that Dacos level. I know numbers-wise they're identical. I think obviously Dacos, one, being at the Pies, but two, playing in a team that allows him to have big moments is the only thing I think that puts Dacos above Harry Sheasel. Harry Sheasel suffers from a smaller club and always being about 60 points behind by the third quarter. So, but we've seen in the big moments, like in the Demons game and plenty. There's so many you can name. He does step up in big moments. So look, I hope you're right. I would hope maybe by that point we're not even questioning if he's going to be in the squad. It's like he's there. There's no way this guy can't be. I'm not talking in the 40. We're talking in the 23-man squad for the All-Australian, I hope. So, yeah, look, I think you're right, and I think he'll do it. I'll caveat it with another, not about Sheasel directly, but indirectly. I reckon by the end of the season in 2025, the media will start to talk about Colby like they did for Shees in his even first and second year. I reckon Colby was the best first-year player last year. And yes, I'm a North Melbourne fan, but, I don't know a player in their first year that maybe got the numbers and racked up the possession that he did. His use is elite. His pace is elite. To get 4 games where he got 37 touches is incredible. And if it wasn't for those 6 weeks, I think it shouldn't have mattered personally, but if it wasn't for those 6 weeks that he was injured, I think he's by far and away the best player. Dempsey was fantastic, but for me personally, and I'm like this with the NBA as well, if you're playing on a fantastic team in your first year, I think that has to count against you. People can agree or disagree with that, but, Dacos year 1 getting fed by Pendlebury and Sidebottom and players like that, I think is a massive advantage where Sheasel had to do it himself. Dempsey with Dangerfields and just the class veteran squad that Geelong have, you have to be able to perform, and he did, and these are great players. But Sheasel doing it in a bad team and those other guys doing it in a good team, I think that puts him above. So Colby doing that as well. I think we should have talked about Colby a lot more, sort of outside North Melbourne fans. And I think by the end of the year, the league will know that Colby is there, if not so close to Harry Sheasel level.
Oh, he's a superstar. He will be a superstar, and he showed he's so classy when he gets the ball. He gives our midfield such a different look, like his pace and cardio up and down the wing all day. If he gets 30 touches forward of centre, it's going to be really, really dangerous for the opposition. But look, the rising star is not an exact science, is it? And we've found that over the years. There's so many good examples of players not winning it who were probably the best player in that year. Harley Reid, I personally think he's a little bit overrated based on what he did last year. He might become the new Dustin Martin, but yes, he did a lot of cool stuff, but how much was he winning the games? You know what I mean? He did flashy stuff, but how much?
Have a think about. Do you remember the game against West Coast down in Tassie where it was pick 1 versus pick 2, and not a single? That's the best marketing strategy for a dead game, like it was, right? Pick 1 versus pick 2. No one said a word about it. Colby had 37 touches, 9 rebound 50s on mid 80% disposal efficiency. Harley Reid took a hanger and had 12 touches and did absolutely nothing else. And Harley Reid's going to be a gun. Do not get me wrong.
Started a fight.
He's going to be a superstar. He did start a fight. That is true. But, Harley Reid's highlights, and he had 5 games where he was absolutely unplayable, and you were like, wow, that is Dustin Martin. The rest of the games, he was fine. He was good, and he was a really, really good first-year player. But consistency-wise, Colby was better. It was just the hype machine around Harley Reid, which he would have got the rising star if he wasn't suspended, even though I don't think he would have personally deserved it. I think maybe I've got the name wrong. Was it Caleb Windsor for the D's? I thought was very, very good as well, along with Dempsey. Or was it someone else? Good. I can't remember.
Windsor was good.
But anyway, look, it was, I think it was Colby's last year. And
there was a guy from St Kilda who played pretty well as well. But sorry, go on, Josh. Apologies.
Oh, no, look, I was just waffling at the end there, mate. But look, I just think, the hype machine was around Harley. Colby was my more consistent player. And was maybe his highs weren't as high as Reid, but he was like an 8 out of 10 at his best, and he did it way more consistently. So, look, that's my hot take. I think by the end of the year, we're talking about Colby on the same level as Shees or the media and the outside of North community.
That ties in well with with another take that I've got here, Josh. Kangas to have a top 5 midfield in 2025. So by the end of 2025, the media, the league will acknowledge the Kangaroos having a top 5 midfield. And I look at the midfield here, Josh, and we were talking about it before the pod. It's so difficult to find spots in that midfield now for players. We're talking about a number whatever top 5 draft pick not being able to make it into the midfield in Finn O'Sullivan. How are we going to find spots for these guys? Sheasel, LDU, Wardlaw, Simpkin, Powell, Darling, Scott, McKercher, the list goes on. Phillips, how are we going to find places for this? But I guess the hot take part of it is we need to put it all together. We need to take that level of talent and then be able to frank that into, field position and dominance of the game.
Yeah, I think that's a great one. I think the important thing for our midfield, depth is fantastic in a midfield, but it's the icing on top that needs to be the best. And, LDU has shown he can be an A grader. Wardlaw, if consistent, absolutely can be. Sheasel is an A grader. I think it really depends on, can those guys keep up their form? And then it is Parker, Powell, what level can he go to? Simpkin having a bit of a bounce back year as well. If these guys perform to how we feel like they can, in a realistic world, what we think they can do, I think that is absolutely true. On paper, the potential is there. Year 3, Clarko, he did talk about putting the game plan around the players we've got more this season as well, which makes me very, very excited. So I could absolutely see it. But I think the cream on the top has to be the best, which we've got potential to do. And then it's the meat where the meat of the team and the midfield where, I don't know, I think as long as Powers and Simpkins and players on that sort of level have really good years, I think you're right. I think we might be on for one. I have another team-orientated one here. North's biggest loss won't be bigger than 50 points. How do you feel about that?
Oh, that's a tough one. It's definitely a hot take. I like it. I don't think it. I really think it will probably get done by someone by 80. But hopefully nothing over 100. But I think, who knows? If we can boss the midfield and we can get our defense settled, very, very possible. Very possible.
50 is a pretty big margin. I mean, look, I once again, hot. Do I believe this 100%? Probably not. But I would hope that maybe it's one or two max that we get over 50 points. But I'm still going to stick with it. I'm going to go 50 points is our biggest loss. We don't play Brisbane in gather round this year, so that gives me a lot of faith. Or we don't play Geelong down in Geelong either.
Okay, that's good. That's a good thing as well. I mean, I just hate that place so much.
Yeah, same.
But that's actually similar to this one, Josh. And this is probably my naturally more realistic approach to the team. The Kangaroos to have a top 15 defense in the competition.
Oh, okay. I like. Yeah.
So we're going up
hot
2
take
spots.
Is us being mid.
So we're going from we were 17th in the league last year to 2 spots up. We'll go to 15th. So we overtake somebody. We'll probably overtake West Coast. Maybe overtake St Kilda. Maybe overtake one of these mid teams, Adelaide. I mean, that would people will laugh at that, but I think based on where our defense has been in the last 5 years, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Look, any upward trajectory in our defense, I will never, ever, ever complain about. I think that's possible because, once again, on the show I did with Marnie last week, we talked about Griffin Logue and his impact. And when Griffin Logue was signed to this team, he was going to come in to be our best defender. Aiden Cole was coming off a very poor year. Comben wasn't even in the conversation for being in defense. Griffin Logue was coming in as our number one key defender. And I think with him back on top of Cause, really good year last year, and what Comben has been able to do as an interceptor, I reckon we could even go higher than what you're predicting, only because I think he can be such a dynamic player, injury aside. So look, I'm not saying we're going to skyrocket into the top 10 or anything, but if we jumped up 4 or 5 places in the defensive rankings, I think it's massively to do with Logue, Archer doing what he's doing for a whole season, but it's probably also on McDonald's form, who I do back to have a good season this year. But Caleb Daniel, I think, is almost the biggest domino with that, with him being able to get the ball away from our defense efficiently.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, as you know, team defence is as important as anything in the AFL. The whole team's got to defend well. We've got to boss the ball. We've got to play it in our half a little bit. Once we do that, we'll start conceding very few high scores.
It did feel like last year that we the way I feel like and I don't have the numbers on this, you're more of a numbers guy than I am, but I'm just going off the eye test, but it felt like the number one way we got scored against was turnovers coming out of the back 50. And I feel like if Daniel can improve that, getting the ball to McKercher on a wing or something like that to drive that ball forward more, hopefully we can reel that in a little bit and not concede quite as much butchering the ball off half back, which I feel like was the way we gave up goals in very short periods of time.
Well, we just butchered it generally. Like it's not. It's also, yes, it's definitely in the back line, but it's also in the forward line. Like the vast majority of our scores were conceded due to turnover by foot and by hand. In fact, our clearance numbers, particularly in that run during the middle of the year, were actually as good as anybody. We were right up there in that 8 to 10 week stretch where we played quite well in the middle of the season. We were going really well from a clearance perspective. We just kept turning the ball over because of our skill and maybe a little bit of game plan stuff. And but as you say, like putting those skilled players by foot down back, you know, Daniel's one of them, McKercher maybe down back, maybe other guys, you know, that we can trust to bring the ball out will make a big difference. But we have that talent there now. So I'm confident that that'll happen.
And don't forget, we did have we top 5 defense for a few weeks coming out of the bye as well. We have shown in a very short period of time that our defense can be good if we aren't butchering the ball. That little run of 4 or 5 weeks we had out of the bye, we were a very, very good defensive team. When they put the numbers up that we were I think we were top 2. If I'm not mistaken there for a couple of weeks. And that clearly shows almost like that Collingwood game where that first half, if that's what we can ever do for a full game, we're going to be a very scary side. And almost like those 4 or 5 weeks where our defense was really solid, if that's what we can do with more runs on the board with a very young team, I think we clearly can do it. And with Logue coming back and Daniel, I think they're going to elevate it. So, yeah, I think your take's hot, but it makes a lot of sense. Let's lead on from that with a Caleb Daniel take of mine. I reckon Caleb Daniel is top 5 in our best and fairest.
Could be for sure. That's you know what? I think it's definitely top 10. This is why it's a good take. It's hot. It's like in between. We can argue it either way. I think he's top 10. I just think there's too many other good players in front of him at the moment. But if he is top 5, then you have to say it's one of the better recruiting calls that we've made for a very long time. Because the reality is that we gave up a second round draft pick for him essentially. And he's come in and been a really, really good player for us if he does finish in that position. So I think it can definitely happen. There'll be a ball down there, Josh. We know that.
Well, look, he's going to get a lot of footy down there. So I don't know. I think the Caleb Daniel and I've spoken about this last year, but maybe let me know what you think about this. But I think Caleb Daniel is one of the most, if not the most underrated recruit of the whole trade period, mainly because the first bit of media that I heard about Caleb Daniel was David King saying that we've given up way too much and he's past his best. And Caleb Daniel's a 28-year-old guy who's won a premiership and played at a very high level, very consistently for, 10 years in the league almost. So, is it the best player out of the trade period? No, I'm not saying that. But, a 28-year-old who's got 4 years of elite footy left in him, who's known and proven to be an elite player by foot off the half back line. Do we need another pick 25, another 18-year-old who's going to take years to develop? Absolutely not. We need guys who can come in and make the young, exciting players we've got better right now. And here's a player that will do that. Our team long-term will benefit more from 4 years of Caleb Daniel than we would getting another, unless it's a generational player, and I understand that. But, I'm confident saying that, we'll benefit more off 4 years of Daniel than we would of drafting another pick 25.
Yeah, it's a very, very good point. And I think that's why I think all the supporters have reason to be excited, because we are saying finally, no, we've got enough talent. We've got to put the game plan in place, and we expect improvement over the next 2 years. And that's all I can actually. I want the clubs to say that. I want the club to put pressure on itself, because we'll get pressure on us anyway at some point. So we may as well put pressure on ourselves and say, yes, we should win 8 games next year. We should beat these also-ran teams with the players that were brought in. I think that's a great stance from the club. As far as people saying, well, he's past it, he's not past it, you've got to take a step back, and all of these trades are so often looked at isolation, and they say, well, Caleb Daniel hasn't been doing the numbers that he was in 2021 and therefore he's past his prime. You've got to look at what's happening at the Bulldogs and who's playing in his position. He didn't actually play that much football in the first half of the season. They left him out. They preferred to have other players like Bailey Dale and Garcia and all these other new guys coming in, which is fine for them. But you've also got to take a back step and say, well, that's why his numbers weren't very good. When he came in the back half of the year, his numbers were actually pretty good. But if you look at the whole season, you go, well, he only played 12 games or whatever. So there's a little bit of nuance that probably Kingy's he's missing a little bit. You know, he's been on the punt for too long. He's worried about other stuff.
I understand. I mean, my other perspective is, you know, the trade market is looked at as a very linear thing where is Caleb Daniel worth pick 25? And a lot of people say no. Well, to North Melbourne, he is. Is he worth pick 25 to Collingwood? Absolutely not. Is he worth pick 25 to Geelong? God, no. Is he worth pick 25 to North Melbourne? 100% yes. And I think I'm really surprised that there's not more people looking at it from a value per club perspective, not as an overall market. And that's the thing that I think people are a little bit short-sighted on, especially in the media who aren't North fans. Most North fans have absolutely loved this deal, and I haven't heard any criticism from North fans over Parker or Daniel, to be fair. But I'm surprised that we look at, especially the media who get paid to look at this and analyse it, look at it from a very black and white perspective, ones and zeros, where he's worth that, no, he's not, compared to, well, to North Melbourne, he's worth a lot more than he would be to a Collingwood.
Yeah, 100%. And sometimes you can't give up exactly what that player is worth. Like, if you look at the player and go, he's worth a early second round pick, fine. But we don't have an early second round pick. We have a late first round pick. So what are you going to do? Right. You're going to go down this route of, you know, this complicated route of pick swapping and point gathering and trying to get the exact pick that you want. No, you're just going to do the deal and maybe get a pick back in return. Like, that's the way these things work. It's actually a really good segue, Josh, because I've got here the development of Whitlock and the performance of the team will make us forget about the pick swap.
Wow. I love that. Because, you know, half of me has been trying to, how do I say this correctly? I don't mind that we traded that pick. I don't view draft pick just because we have a top five, well, potentially a top 5 pick, which we assume it will be, doesn't mean it's going to be good. And it's just a hypothetical number at the end of the day when we've got an actual physical player. We're not going to see the best of Whitlock for 5 to 7 years, so we're not going to actually be able to tell this deal is good or not until then. But look, I love the thought of Matt Whitlock, and I'm dying for him to play in the forward line. If we've recruited, and let me know what you think of this, if we've traded a top 5 potential pick for another defender when we've got Callan Dawson, Will Dawson, and especially with Will Dawson's potential, I'll be upset. But look, if Matt Whitlock comes in, gets some games, kicks some goals, hopefully if he's up forward, and we're looking all right and we're not rock bottom, I think you might be on there. I think that's a possibility, but hot take nonetheless.
Yeah, and I think, you know, people will look at it and just go, first, we've given up a first round for 2 second rounders, basically. And look, from a points perspective, very, very complicated, the point system, but it wouldn't probably work from a points perspective. But it works for us from a needs perspective. And as you say, like, everybody's market is a little bit different. Our market is a little bit different. Gold Coast is a great example of a team that's got a completely different draft market to everybody else because of the way their academy prospects have worked out. So we're a little bit similar to that. Just to remind everybody, 2024 second rounder plus a 2025 second rounder for a first rounder next year. For Richmond, which would obviously be ours. That would be, you know, everyone's projecting that to be in the top 5. Look, imagine if it wasn't even top 10, that would be hilarious, but that probably won't happen. That would be too hot a take, Josh. But I just think that the team performance will have us in a situation where we're not even thinking about that pick swap anymore. We're just thinking about, look, we've got this dude on our hands who's 200 centimeters, who's aggressive and can take a good grab and kick a good goal. Rather than thinking about what we missed out on next year.
Get him on the Majak meal plan as far as I'm concerned and beef this boy up, and we might have the greatest hopefully key forward of our generation, but I don't think that's a hot take at all. I'll give you another hot take, and I like this one. This is a me hot take. Hopefully this man's keeping Whitlock out of the team. Bryn Teakle plays 18 games, 18 or more games. How do you feel about that?
That is a huge hot take. I love Bryn Teakle. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a very pro Bryn Teakle guy. Ever since he came into the team, he's a good-looking rooster, which we love. He takes a good grab. He works very, very hard. He's very honest. He's good for our structure. Now, that's something that people don't kind of allow for, because we need that second guy to play 20% ruck, 50% forward, and Teakle at the moment is fitting that bill. Now, whether we have guys in the background who could potentially fill that role instead of Teakle, I think there are people.
Pink, Goad, maybe. Well, Goad won't get a game. Pink is another one that could potentially, and Whitlock, they're probably the three I can think of off the top of my head.
Oh, yeah, and probably Will Dawson. I mean, Will Dawson is seen as a swingman, so maybe he could be someone who could go in there. He's huge. He's 200 plus centimetres. Whether he can play ruck as well as whether he's got. I think Goad is probably the one in my mind where I'd like to start seeing him. Obviously, he's a massive project player. He's a freak, 208 centimetres. He needs to put on size, obviously. But, how far away is he? We'd love to see him this year, because you just don't see guys that athletic around. But, I think 18 is probably slight overs for Teakle. But, look,
That's
I'm a big Bryn fan.
Spicy, though.
Yeah, I'm a big Bryn fan, so maybe he does play 18. I've got in the talls department, I've got Comben to lead the league in intercept marks.
Oh, I love that. I love Charlie Comben. Yeah, look, if Aiden Core can have the lockdown role locked up, for lack of a better word there, and we've got Logue sort of playing that Ferrito / Josh Gibson-esque swingman sort of role. I can fully see it. I'm very hot on Comben plays back. There's a few people out there who are very hot on him forward. I just don't think he's shown much as a forward, as a lead up targeting, take a good mark, but I don't know if I trust him in front of goal, and he's got a tendency to drift out of the game. But if he's behind the ball and can just almost play that Majak Door role from that season, 2018 season potentially, I can't remember, but that season where he was just drifting across packs, taking marks and dishing it off, and then we go. That's his perfect role, and he can be one of the best in the league at that. So I love that take, mate. I'm all over it.
I also think he can play a swingman. I think he's a perfect swingman. I think he's one of those players where we're like, okay, break glass in case of emergency, send Comben forward, play small ball for a little bit of time down back. Maybe a Goder or a Hardiman or a McDonald have to play a little bit taller for half a game or something like that to allow Comben to Miller Bergman to allow Comben to get a good matchup and potentially kick 3 or 4, like he kicked 3.5 against against Collingwood. I mean, that's a good swingman to have around in case you're just not getting what you want out of the game.
Yeah, the only thing that worries me with that is, and I've said this a few times, I'm not sure how much of a fan of a swingman I am. I think I like someone to nail their position and just keep playing that. I don't think a swingman obviously can ever be as good in one of those positions as a permanent forward or a permanent defender. And I worry that we've got with a Dawson, Whitlock, Comben, are we getting a little bit too much? Oh, they can play both ends, but are they perfecting one? Are they going to be one of the best in their position? Are they going to be that prelim final-esque quality player that is going to lock down that position? That's the only thing that I hesitate. If Chom gets swung forward, I'm absolutely not upset about it. I've just seen his best footy by a country mile has been in the back line, and for his own development, I'd just keep him there. And that's why I hope Whitlock is a forward, because he's played forward. Let's develop him as a forward. Let's get him under Darling's wing and make sure he can play that role, because Chom looks so much more comfortable in the back line. And like you said, if he can start taking those intercept marks and be the number one intercept player in the league, we've got a fantastic player in our hands. I'm going to caveat one with, speaking of forwards, Eddie Ford kicks a game winner in 2025 and absolutely brings the house down. The celebrations on him, it'll be Hawthorne-esque celebrations from Eddie Ford. I don't know if he's doing the mutton chop celebration, ice in the veins, or just flipping someone off, but Eddie Ford's kicking a goal after the siren to win a game in 2025.
Oh, I love that. You know what? I just love the old school double cobra.
Oh, I love
The
it.
Nathan
I watched the
Thompson
Nathan
double
Thompson
cobra.
compilation not long ago.
Huge.
I love Nathan
Just a little
Thompson
bit of
so much.
nighttime.
He's one of my
little bit
favorites.
of nighttime watching for you, Josh.
It was,
Little
you
bit
know
of
what?
nighttime
It's not
watching.
even a YouTube rabbit hole. It's the first thing I search when I go onto the app. So that's just on my home screen. I've always got that linked in my notes in case I can't find the video. Nathan Thompson, Glenn Archer and Nathan Thompson were my first two favorite players. Arch is my favorite of all time, but if you want a slightly more underground pick, not crazy underground, but Nathan Thompson is top 5 North players in my heart of all time.
Right. That's a good one. Was Jonathan Hay there as well? Do you remember Jonathan Hay?
I do remember Jonathan Hayes. He didn't
He was
crack the top
around that
5.
Thompson time.
Yeah, there was a lot
Yeah.
around that Thompson time, mate. I mean, I love that Guernsey with just the blue with the silhouette of the roux coming off the ribs. If anyone out there has one and is willing to sell it, please contact me. I don't have all the money in the world, but I'd like to inquire because if I could ever get one of those, I would be a very, very happy man. So if you're out there and have one of those Nathan Thompson double cobra ones, doesn't have to have his number on the back, but just one of those Guernseys and would be open to parting ways for some coin, please send me a message.
I've only got one more hot take, Josh. So I think this is it for us. But 8 wins at a percentage of 85 is my hot take. I think we're probably more around the 6 wins, but I think 8 wins at a percentage of 85.
So I did a ladder predictor in my own time, and I reckon there's 9 winnable games this season. And it doesn't mean we're going to win them all, but and I'm not predicting us for 9 wins. Let's just get that off my chest straight away. But yeah, I think 6 wins to me, 6 to 8 wins is my sort of threshold. It's same as last year. Very disappointing last year to only get 3. 6 wins is realistic. 8, I think it's a hot take, but I don't think it's scalding hot that we can't even digest it. So I reckon that's I reckon it's the right level of it's hot peri peri. It's the right level of spice, but we're not going extreme. I like it. I'm into that. It's a realm of possibility, but if we get 8 wins and a percentage above 65 would be fantastic. So if that happens, mate, I'll be a very happy boy.
Yeah, I actually also think that we're going to go into the fan hot takes, which is going to be great. And I reckon what we do is we use the Peri Peri ranking system of Peri Peri, mild, medium, and hot.
Lemon and herb.
Lemon herb. Lemon herb's right at the bottom as well. Like a lot of mine have been lemon and herb, to be fair. Yours have been a little bit more kind of mild to medium. And let's see if these folks can come up with something hot, because I had a look on the Facebook comment section and there were some hot takes. There were some really hot takes. Spicy
let's start with
takes.
Facebook. Wow. I mean, we don't want to send the listeners to the bathroom for the next 20 minutes. Look, let's start with Facebook here. I've got them all on my phone. I'll read them out to you, and you give me a Peri Peri ranking on these takes, okay? We're starting up there. Jesse Stevenson says, Harley Reid requests a trade to North by year's end.
I mean, that's hot. That's
Doesn't
hot,
get
Peri.
hotter,
That's off the scale. No. That's spicy Vindaloo level, and obviously won't happen because they're going to sign Harley Reid to a $2 million 10-year contract next year.
I think you might be right. Anthony Green says, Jerry, Wardlaw and Shees all make All-Australian, and we narrowly miss out on finals with Parker being our second highest goal kicker behind Suv. So there's a few parts to that. Wardlaw, Jerry, Shees, All-Australian. We narrowly miss finals, and Parker second in the goal kicking.
Is that Anthony Green, the election commentator from the ABC, per chance? Because he will know his numbers if it is.
Okay, I don't know. I haven't dove into didn't stalk the profile, mate. But if you're listening and you are in Parliament,
there are a lot of elements to that. I definitely think the Wardlaw Shees All Australian. I think that's definitely possible. So that's like a mild. Parker kicking 35 goals next year is probably what it would take.
Second in the goal kicking, you reckon, for 35?
I think it's probably, probably 35 to 40. Because Sue will kick 50 to 60. And then that's a medium. And then what was the last one? I just missed the finals. That's what he just said. We'll just miss the finals. That's a hot take, and that's off the scale.
That is off the scale, to be fair. I mean, we've got another one. Jimmy Stevens said PC will kick 35. I think that's medium. I tipped him 40 plus. So compared to mine, I've got to go medium. But what do you reckon? Yeah,
Jimmy, that was good, mate. Absolutely spot on. I think it's a mild to mid. Yeah, like I obviously had PC and Zerha to kick 70 between them, so I think that he'll be around that mark. So I think that's. Is
Jimmy
mild.
spot on? Is Jimmy spot on, and we're just way too hot here?
No. Jimmy's spot on. 35 PC. Although he kicked 30 last year, right?
He did.
So it's
I think
not
30,
that big of it.
yeah,
That's
30.
actually. So that's mild, really. He'll improve.
Mild. You're right. Okay, well, this one is, I know where this one's going. Richie White, a very, very passionate North man. Make the 8, beat Essendon in the first round, and put more misery on the Dons family, still without a finals win since 2004.
So the funny thing about that is, the problem with that is that Essendon will be nowhere near the finals.
This is so interesting.
We're not going to play. If we make the finals, we're not going to play Essendon 100%. And if we do, I don't know what is out there. I will drink some hot Peri Peri, because that's a huge take, and not because we make the finals, but because Essendon make the finals.
Are we saying you'll have a big swig of a bottle of hot Peri Peri sauce if Essendon make the finals? Is that what we're going with?
No, if we obviously play Essendon in the finals, but
I was trying to get you.
I mean, I would take a swig if it pleases the universe out there, the North fans.
If North make the finals, you down a bottle of extra hot Peri Peri on the pod.
I'll drink because I would throw up obviously before I'd be able to finish an entire bottle. But I will drink it if we make the finals for sure, 100%.
All right, I'll do it with you, mate. Lock me in. Listeners, keep us honest if we're looking like finals. James Duke, 12 wins, scrape into the 8, but bomb out. Just to settle our excitement.
Yeah, Dukey. I love the little plot twist at the end, but we'd bomb out. Yeah. It won't happen. We won't get 12 wins, I don't think. But look, that's a scoring hot take. Yeah, that's Vindaloo / hot.
Mm-hmm. Who we got here? Matthew Heron. I'm going to combine a couple here because they're sort of similar. Okay. Matthew Heron and Noah Jacobson. Matthew says we will come 5th, which is just like you're putting your tongue in a toaster at that point. Make it to semis and lose to the winners. And Noah says we make top 8 and Paul Curtis surprise All Australian, which isn't quite as hot as Matthew's, but they're both ladder predictions. Just react to the first one. We will come 5th, make it to semis and lose to the winners.
It's oddly specific. Which I love a hot take that's super specific because, you know, all of my ones are quite generic, like they will generally happen. But for this one, it's like very specific, like we will lose to the eventual premiers. Here's one thing that I will say. I will definitely think that we will lose next year to the eventual premiers at some stage during the year.
I think that's a lemon and herb 100%. Take from you, mate.
Yeah. But that's a hot take from both of those boys. PC, obviously, I love PC. He's one of my favorite. I think, what about PC to bench over 200 kilos next year? That's lemon and herb as well. I think we go like 225 would be maybe mild from him, knowing his for
numbers.
For reps.
For reps. Yeah. But he benches 165, 185? I can't remember.
160 something,
he benches 165, but does 3 sets of 10. I think that's what we need. If only we could get Eddie Ford to bring Paul Curtis. Yeah, bring Paul Curtis to the live show, and he's just benching the entire show. I think that would be a fantastic one. Speaking of a fantastic one, Matt Cooper, Harry Sheasel finishes top 5 in the Brownlow medal. He's got a few here, so I'm going to quick fire these and just give me a one-word answer on the Scoville scale. Harry Sheasel finishes top 5 in the Brownlow.
Hot.
LDU resigns until LDU resigns until 2030 before round 16.
Lemon and herb.
Ooh, 3 different North players kick 5 or more goals in a game.
Oh God, medium.
Okay,
Medium to hot.
3 or more North players. I mean, Larky's a lock. You'd hope we get a King of Marvel game, and I mean
Curtis.
PC. Yeah, I could see for sure. And the Jack Darling game that against West Coast when he kicks 7 would be fantastic.
Yeah, maybe Jacob Costanti.
Oh, yes.
Coming from
put him
nowhere.
on that list. Okay, here's mine. For every game that Jacob Constanti kicks 10 goals, I'll drink a bottle of hot sauce. I like Constanti too. I hope he plays, and I'm actually kind of excited for him, to be fair. That's not a diss at Constanti at all. I just want to make sure I'm not drinking the hot sauce. Gary Upton, Luke Urquhart to debut round 1, and then he's gone on with some Luke McDonald slander and said he misses out on selection. A Luke for a Luke, apparently he has said here. And then there's Glenn Lavender, which is a similar one. Luke Urquhart shines as best draft pickup.
Medium. Yeah, he's good.
Medium?
But let's see how. I want to see how good he is.
We're going to do a couple more rapid fire ones here on Facebook before we go to Instagram, where there's only one question. So because some people have put a few in. Just a one-word answer from you, mate. Adam Barber, Colby to finish top 5 in the BNF.
Mild.
It's mild. Yeah, I think it's mild. LDU and Shees to kick 50 goals between them from the midfield. 50.
Medium to hot.
Oh, that's hot for me. There's nothing medium about it. 50 between them. LDU kicks him off his shin, mate. I love LDU, but I don't know if he's the most reliable in front of goal.
40 goals to Sheasel, 10 to LDU.
45 goals to Sheasel and 10 and 5 to LDU. And one more. Our percentage will be closer to 100 than it will be to 63.
Lemon, mild.
Mild, okay. Or nearly went with lemon and herb. I can't
almost.
A few more here. Harley John Harbour, North 8 to 10 wins.
Hot.
LDU top 3 Brownlow and signs monster contract. Top 3 Brownlows.
Mild to medium.
Okay. Larky 60 plus goals.
Mild. I think he'll do that. I think he'll get close.
Blood 4 new players. I think that's maybe even Lemon and Herb. I feel like we've got talent.
That's Lemon and Herb, big time. No, that's.
But I guess who are the new players who have never played? Are we still counting like Hardiman and some of those? I guess they've played a game.
No,
I'm assuming he means no games.
Yeah, Foss will play. I think
Can't count Parker, Darling, Daniel in that.
Yeah, Goad will potentially play.
You reckon Goad gets a
Whitlock
game? That's a hot
play.
take, mate. Goad getting a game is a hot take.
Well, I'm just hearing a lot out of the club at the moment about how
there's a lot of him on
athletic he is
social media. I'm noticing as well. I'm seeing a lot of posts with Goad front and center. So I feel like they're slowly trying to push him in our face a little bit.
Yeah. So I think four is about right.
All right. Instagram. We got a few on Instagram. Then we can finish it off. Nate _Faulkner says LDU is top 5 in the Brownlow medal count. Which we did actually have that one just then anyway. So I guess that with him in the Brownlow count, top 5, do you think that's a mild take or medium? I think that's medium to hot personally.
I think it's probably mild to medium. Yeah, I think he polls really well. If you look at the season he had last year, he had good games. Yes, he had a great season, but he polled really well in the Brownlow. Like he wrecked Shees.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I guess it depends on Wardlaw and Simpkin coming back and that sort of stuff. But yeah, you're right. I think that's maybe more of a. He polls well, but I would hope there's some players who can maybe take a little bit of shine. Well, hopefully LW keeps his shine, but we have some more shiny stuff around him. Jack _ Mason Grab 27 says Constanti debut round 1.
Mild to medium. I just haven't heard anything.
Medium
is in
you don't like the take, or medium is in that's of course, because I would have thought we're ranking it as in medium would mean no, he's going to play. Hot take is, so that would be a very hot one for me because he's not expected to be in the round 1 squad.
Yeah, medium to hot. Like he's not expected. Okay. I think RHJ is ahead of him at the moment anyway.
I had this debate with Marnie. I don't agree. Why do you think that?
Because RHJ has actually played AFL and Constanti hasn't. Like it's
but you
very
think, but you don't
simple.
think like Constanti with his draft position surely has a lot more talent and potential. So that's where my head goes to with him being drafted as, in the top 20-ish, being a part of the Swans. I feel like he's more of a chance to debut in round 1 than Hanson Jr. Because I think Constanti's ceiling is a lot higher.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I feel as though if you're an AFL level player, if you're going to be a good AFL level player, like if he plays, let's say 100 games, right? He would have played already. And Sydney wouldn't have been willing to give up what they gave, like what we gave them. So, and what we got from them, then, so they wouldn't have been willing to do the trade. And I guess my point is that he's definitely a high draft pick and he's definitely got talent, but we definitely haven't seen that yet. And the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, well, a good organisation like Sydney is willing to get rid of him for not much. He's steak knives essentially in the Parker deal. I would still say RHJ's ahead of him. Okay. I'd love to be proven wrong because we need that sort of player.
Okay. Jesus' name. Amha 16 says, Nick Larkey can't hit the form. Oh, geez. What are we doing here? Nick Larkey can't hit the form of 2 years ago. More team goals and less reliance on Suv. So, look, I hope it's better form than last year, but maybe doesn't reach his All-Australian year. If he can sort of be in the middle of those two and, there's more help around him, that's good. But, yeah, what do you think of that take? Larkey doesn't quite hit the heights of last season even.
That's kind of non-specific. It's very hard to tell. Like he's kicked 70, mid-70s or whatever it was 2 years ago. I still don't I think it's going to be hard for him to do that because that's like if you just look at the pure numbers, there are very few players who've kicked over 70 goals in the last 10 years.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
It's more about how good he is in front of goal, I think.
For sure. He's very, very accurate. Also, like how much a load is he shouldering? Last year, he was just getting smashed every week, had a bit of a crook ankle. Like it was all very difficult for him. Do I think we kick more goals just generally? Yes. I still think he kicks 60. I think he still kicks 3 goals a game. I would hope
around the 60 goal mark. I think that's fair with maybe even a Dersmer explosion, what we think Curtis and Zerha might be able to do, Jack Darling chopping him out, She's pushing forward. I think around the 60 mark is fair. Let's go to Ari _ Thomas4. I want a quick one from you on this. Griffin Logue, All-Australian squad and robbed of the team for 2025. So he makes the squad but doesn't make the final team. Griffin Logue.
I think he has the ability to do it. Yeah, that's a very hot take. I think he has the ability to do it. I love Griffin Logue. I think he just needs a good run at it, basically.
Are we going medium or hot?
I'm going hot. Yeah, it's a hot take still, because he's been nowhere near that in his whole career. But I think I'd love to see him do it.
That almost means he becomes our best defender too. So ranking him above Chom.
Yeah, I mean, I think if everybody was at their best tomorrow, I think he would be close to our best defender anyway.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. North _ Tom Power wins the best and fairest.
Hot take because there's a million guys in there that are super talented, but he had a great sneaky good year last year, averaged mid to high 20s in disposals and re-signed obviously. So I think that's very hot, but he's definitely has it in him.
We got another one as well from him. Darcy Tucker plays more games than Zach Fisher.
Mm. Um. Well, yeah, that's a hard one. I would say mild. I think they're probably going to play 10 games each.
Okay. Do you Tucker played every game last year? I feel like Tucker's going to be that bloke that just sticks in the 22 forever, and we're all saying, why is he playing? But he's played 22 plus a year. I don't want that to happen, by the way.
I'm looking at the depth chart, and like I can't find a spot for him anymore. So
yeah.
Where does he play? He plays a little bit of halfback. Yeah, exactly. So, but then the same for Fisher. Like Daniel takes Fisher's spot, and then who are we going to play? Who are we going to take out of the lineup for Fisher? Like I don't see anybody.
True.
22 games in the VFL.
Oh, okay. Wow. Let's wow. All right, let's rapid fire some of these just to finish off the pod because we've hit the hour mark. Darcy.o.rourke. 40 will give the fans what they want and cop multiple fines for flipping the bird.
Mild, that'll definitely happen.
Lemon and Herb, he's flipping the bird every game.
Yeah.
Corey J. Nish says, 0-4 start, usual chirping starts. It clicks versus Gold Coast, and the boys go on a tear, winning 7 to 8 of the next 10.
Hot.
Yeah, you don't hot because you don't think we'll be 0-4, or hot because we're not going to go on an 8-game win streak.
We're not going on an 8-game win streak. No, never going to happen.
I like it though. It's hot, and that's what we asked for. Yeah, it absolutely could. Gilbertish on Instagram. Colton McKercher will be the Sid Barker medalist.
Has the ability mild, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
He's there and thereabouts.
JS Mulvogue. I think I said Mulgrove. Mulvogue. North will beat Carlton on Good Friday. I love it.
That's great. Carlton's struggling at the moment. I would say, like with injuries and so forth. Medium for me. Could happen.
Oh, it's hard not to give it at least hot because they're still better than us. All right.
Yeah, they are definitely.
Reagan.Hayes. Riley Hardiman for Rising Star. Darling flops, but Finbar emerges as our second key forward. So 2 parts to that. Hardiman, Rising Star, and Finbar emerges as our second key forward.
Yeah, medium. Hot. I feel like
it's got to be hot for Hardiman using Rising Star.
Yeah, I think he's got the ability. Like, I do think he has the ability, but it's just he needs to get a game at the team first. And then as for Finbar, like, hasn't even played a game of AFL yet. So we're still struggling to see how good he is. Yeah.
True. No, like, do you reckon Finbar or Whitlock gets a game first in the forward line?
That's difficult. Apparently Whitlock's being very, very competitive at training. So I want to say Whitlock.
Okay. I would hope it's Whitlock. I like Finbar. Yeah, Finbar's also skinny though. A couple of twigs, but I look for our future. I hope it's Whitlock, but I would love to see Big Moose Finbar get a run. Mason _Feltham. This season defines whether our current squad has what it takes to win a flag. This is the season to know if we're going to win a flag with this list.
I think that's a hot take. Yeah, I think that's a hot take. I don't think this is the season. I don't think there's any one season. I think we could be shit this season, then great next season. Like,
yeah, I agree. I think the next 3 years maybe more define that for me when we're getting into year 6 and stuff of Shees and whatever we do, and hopefully we're not still getting top draft picks. So, look, not a bad take. We've got Seamus B90 North to finish higher than Essendon, Gold Coast, and Adelaide.
Very hot take. I think Gold Coast will finish above us. Yeah. I think Essendon is touch and go, and I think Adelaide is also touch and go.
Can I give you a hot one of my own, man?
Us. Yeah, go for it.
Well, I think Essendon are more likely to finish above us than Gold Coast.
Yeah, that's a huge hot take. I think Gold Coast nearly make the finals next year.
I reckon Gold Coast are planted in 13th for the rest of their existence, personally. Look, the main criticism I get being a North fan all the time is how many first round picks do you need? Well, Gold Coast have had 12 years of them and they haven't done anything. So Dimmer's up there to get a tan and ride the waves, and that's about it personally. So anyway, look, I actually tipped us in, spoiler alert, I tipped us above Adelaide in my ladder prediction, which will be another episode. So look, we won't spoil too much. We'll go to the next one. I mean, we've had this one, but PC to kick 45 plus from Jakey McIntyre. 45 plus is a lot, though, to be fair, when we're considering the number. A lot of PC hot takes here, but 45 plus, how do you feel about that as a number?
To a game, it's doable, but it's like a big breakout season. That's to be honest, that's all Australian level for a medium forward.
Yeah,
so
no, fair.
It's a hot take.
Brighton _ Isles to finish up the last few. We've got 3 left. Brighton _ Isles. Hello, Brighton. Mega fan of the show. Larky to kick 3 bags of 10 goals. Darling to kick 40 total and make Corns walk.
Corns will never walk. Corns is would probably be the second highest paid media person in Australia into the sports space. I think Jared Whaley would be just above him, maybe. There's no way he's walking. I think Darling will not kick 40, he'll kick 20 something, and then Larky won't kick 10. Hopefully he kicks 10. 3
bags of 10. You don't think he'll kick a bag of 10?
No. Bags of 10 come around like once every 3 seasons. So he's not going to kick 3 in a season.
I think what he's meaning by Corns walk is he did say that he would go around the tan, didn't he? If do like walk laps of the tan if Darling kicks 40. So I think that's what he's referring to there.
Okay, fair enough. No, Darling won't kick 40.
Yeah, which is soft from Corns, to be fair, because he basically runs for a living. Didn't he jog from like Adelaide to Melbourne? So that's soft, just doing a lap of a tan. I think he should cross the Nullarbor personally, but hey.
We wouldn't hear from him at least for a couple of weeks. That'd be nice.
All right, 2 more here. Really rapid fire. Ray, I don't know this name. Reganley Claude says Teakle 35 goals.
No.
So off the Richter scale you're talking about here. You're talking about Vindaloo hot?
It's ridiculously hot. No, won't happen.
I'm backing him. I reckon that's lemon and herb.
Teakle won't do that at VFL level. He won't kick 35 goals, let alone AFL level.
Oh, that is harsh. Harsh.
It's just harsh, but it's not Teakle's fault. He's a ruckman.
Yeah. I don't know. So you think if Teakle played he played 22 VFL games, he's not kicking 35?
I think he'd struggle to kick 35 in 22 games, yeah. So I think he plays majority in the ruck. Okay, well, the positionally, yes, that's fair. If he played forward, I think he gets it pretty easily. But yeah, okay, you're right. If he's in the ruck, I can understand. It's not about Teakle. It's about the position.
Position, yeah, for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
How 267. God, I've butchered these last few. I'm so sorry, guys. I wish there was names, not handles. She's kicks 30 goals.
That's more likely, and if he plays the whole season up forward, he could definitely do that. But I think he plays midfield, so it's probably a medium to hot.
Okay. Well, look, that wraps up the Hot Takes episode. Please, in the comments, let us know which ones you think were the best. Add your own in the comments as well. For all the YouTube watchers, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and give the show a like. It really does help. And please leave your comments and give us your own hot takes. If you weren't part of this one, we'll do more fan interaction, that sort of stuff, so you can get into that. Don't forget the live show as well, 23rd of Feb. Tickets should be on sale, so get on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, basically everywhere there's North Melbourne content. The Close to a Flag boys will be posting it. Kanga TV will be posting it. The live show is going to be so, so good. So please grab a ticket and come along. We'd love to see all you guys. It genuinely makes me a little bit emotional that people want to come and see me talk about North Melbourne. Eddie Ford will be there as well to say hello to all you guys. So please get involved in that. Chief, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to see you plenty this year, I hope, and the guys will get used to you being around. So thank you very much for coming on and sharing your hot takes.
Thanks, Josh. Good to be here.
And from the Outer podcast as well, if you guys want to listen to
from the Outer, yeah.
from his fantastic voice. So yeah, look, we'll be back another week, another podcast. We're not far away from preseason games as well. We got plenty more coming, so stay tuned to the socials. Please get around the live show, and we'll talk to you guys soon. So thank you very much for listening, and go North.